Hey friends, I'm Ryan Vernell, and this is my show, The Ryan Show FM. It airs all over the radio in different cities. And our YouTube channel has nothing but my favorite clips, including my favorite interviews, including this one with Buddy Wike of the R&B group Intro. You may be familiar with Intro from the 90s. They had some hits back then. And selfishly, I must say that Buddy is one of my very dear friends. He's performed at my live shows many, many times and created many great memories for me. I'm going to ask him some questions about what it was like back in the 90s and what he's got going on right now. He's been working with Mr. Cheeks very heavily over the past few years. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the great Buddy Wike. And we are back for part 2 of tonight's broadcast. This indeed is the Ryan Show FM, built for YouTube, but plays on the radio all over the damn country anyway. And I'm sitting down with a legend, a living legend, and a guy that was once part of the great parties that we threw back in Queens in 2017 and 2018. This is a man that is part of one of the most legendary R&B trios from Brooklyn in the history of the borough.
Oh, man.
Yes, I'm talking about Clinton Buddy Wike, aka one of the illest. Wow. And if you are familiar with the show and used to party with us back in the day, you're very familiar with Buddy and Intro. Welcome to the first time on this radio program where it's syndicated. And for all of the people out there viewing, it's good to have you here, Buddy. How are you tonight?
Ryan, man, it's an absolute pleasure and honor, dopeness. Every time I'm around, man, it's just good times hanging out with you and the fellas, in Queens with the parties and the Lost Boys and Cheeks and, just the mixing of cultures and stuff. It's just always been fun and always a good time, man. Thank you, having me here tonight. Hang out with you on the corner here. Yep.
You were a huge part of it. People were so hyped because you go to this party and you don't know what you're going to get. Like you said, it was like a mixing of cultures. One host of this circus, as I used to call it, was Mr. Cheeks. Mr. Cheeks of the legendary Lost Boys. There was my best friend, Hampton's Dave, socialite of New York City, and fellow Hamptonite. And then myself, I don't even know what I am and what I've been at this point. And just this eclectic crew all around us, and people from the city, from the Hamptons, from Long Island, from upstate New York, all coming together and partying all under one roof. Never an incident of violence. Never an incident of turmoil or anything crazy. And then there's Buddy Wike in between the stand-up comedy and in between us sitting there interviewing legends. There's Buddy Wike singing on stage, giving essentially a full-out concert. And I'll owe you forever for getting up and performing and putting your heart and soul into it to a crowd of absolute miscreants at times. Just legendary, man.
Well, thank you. One of the fun things about that night was the records that we did that night were records that are from us. It's like records that we created, going over to Cooler Ruler studio and coming up with these good songs. And that venue, that party right there was the chance for us to get on stage and see if the people, the reception of the people and stuff like that. And it's just always a really, really good time. And Queens, shout out to Queens. I remember that.
Shouts to Tavern Lounge, which actually did sadly shut down in a violent incident, but not at our party, for what it's worth. And I'll never forget people, I think it was Kay, shouts to Karen Joy, standing there because the microphone stand had broke. So she literally stood and held the mic as you played piano and sung.
Okay.
At one point in front of this large crowd of people. Just insane to think. The saying goes, the show must go on.
The show must go on, yo. I remember that night. What song did I do that song? That night, I think I did. No. Oh, I think I did, real quick. I want to just test my memory real quick, Ryan. I think I did, let me see. Tell me if I'm right. Let me see. I think I did. You with me on the beach and we all alone. No Blackberries, no iPhones, no paparazzi, no friends around. The sun is going down, it's getting hot. See rock at the spot, it's time to rock and roll till the sun returns. I love what you're doing. I think I did that joint tonight.
I think you did.
We had the piano there. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
I just want
it was
to.
just straight soul that was going down up there
So,
amidst all of it, and everybody just shut down. We were used to all these
mhm.
degenerate rappers and just loud
Oh
craziness,
no,
and then
nah, it's
sure enough, there's
all
you
dopeness. That
bringing that soul
was
to the
fun.
piano and to the
It
stage.
was fun.
And I was saying a little bit off the mic, that was the
Hmm.
same year, and I can't say it because we're on FM radio, but New York-ish came
New
out.
York. Hmm.
And man, that still to me is the song of 2018. It's a song by you and Mr. Cheeks, and you guys just crushed it, man. We're definitely gonna play it on the show tonight. I know that you guys
Thank you.
switched it up and made almost like a remix for the official music video, but
Yep.
over the
But
Mobb
that
Deep song, what was the song? Why can't I
the
remember what the
the
instrumental for Mobb
original.
Deep?
Oh snap.
It was it was their second album. Um,
The name of the
well,
track. Like
yeah,
I
we'll
get
know in a
hooked on the
second
beat.
when we hear it
Yeah.
tonight.
So,
Um,
baby. All we did was throw some chords on top of it. We let just like stuff that I learned from working with the Untouchables and those guys, and then basically they let the music go and then just get on the piano. So with the New York with the Mobb Deep
Give Up the
sample,
Goods. It was this. It was Give Up
I
the
wish I
Goods.
had it up. Give up the goods. And then I just added this on the top of it. Baby, there's no need to worry. As long as we got the streets, you know that we gonna eat. There's no need to worry at all. I'll hug the block all night. Keep it moving to the morning light. Cause there's no hard thing to this joy I bring. I wanna buy you everything. You don't have to worry. Yeah, and then
So
that
good.
was with the beat rocking underneath it. That was just like adding some music to the beat.
So you
Yeah.
are a true fan of New York. Before we even get into the
Uh-huh.
legendary past, we get into intro. I must say also that I was thrilled to see you taking batting practice with the New York Yankees just this year. I was hyped, man, because that's the first team to go back to the World Series. Yeah, and you got four, buddy. I was like, damn, Buddy Wike can swing a bat. And then I found out that you actually played baseball and were
Oh yeah.
very good at it back in the day. And you
That's
can
all.
see it. You can still hit a baseball. So that being
Let's
said, the
go.
Yankees finally made it to the World Series for the
Yeah.
first time in 15 years. How closely did you watch the Bronx Bombers this year?
I've spent a lot of time, and one of my buddies has some great season tickets, and he offers them some time, and I get to sit there in the legend seats and go in and eat and bump into. I ran to get something to eat. The one of the last games I went to, I came back. Flavor Flav was sitting in front of me, like uh, all the regulars, like the baseball players come in. He used to play for. This is one of the guys that I went to high school with, Dwayne Juice Moore. He went on to play for the Milwaukee Brewers baseball
Okay.
club, and he's probably one of the best baseball players I've ever known in my life. He just happened to be my homeboy that started off with us playing stickball in East New
Wow.
York in a schoolyard, just throwing a bit little Spalding ball at each other and us hitting them. Then we went to Little League and we played for the same high school team. And you know, shout out to Abraham Lincoln High School in Brooklyn. That's where we play baseball at.
And he played
Yep.
in the same era that our own contributor and my pal, you hear him on this program,
Hmm.
Greg Vaughn played on in
Greg
that
Vaughn. Shout out
era.
to.
He was part of that same Brewers crew.
Oh wow! Shout out to Greg Vaughn. Juice might know Greg Vaughn. He may. No,
I'm
I'm
sure he
so
does.
yes.
He knows everybody, Vaughn.
It was
He's the man.
okay. Good.
He's great. So
Yeah.
yeah, baseball had a nice resurgence in New York this year. And not only did I see you at the
Hmm.
Yankees game, but sadly I saw you at the Mets game too. I know you're a New York baseball fan,
Hmm.
but I'm what they call a diehard, crazy, obnoxious Yankees
Hmm.
fan. I'm like the guy that pulled the ball from Mookie Betts' glove kind of
Oh
Yankee
man,
fan.
that's crazy. Wasn't that crazy? I was like, oh shoot. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Um, I grew up in Brooklyn, so it was easier for me to get to Citi Field, which was Shea Stadium at the time, the Yankee Stadium. And my parents were okay with me going into Queens as opposed to going into the Bronx. That's how it became like somewhat a Mets fan. We wait around for the baseball players to come out. I remember we met Hubie Davis, one of the guys coming out the thing. He gave us a little bit of baseball advice, and you know, and as I got older, I got to go to Yankee Stadium and get into the bleacher seats and feel the energy of Yankee Stadium. And you're right, it's nothing like the energy over there
Especially the bleachers.
in the
So wait,
Bronx.
so you're saying that Buddy White
Oh,
was one of the
bleacher
bleacher
creature.
creatures?
I was a bleacher creature. Yeah,
Oh man. Yeah,
bleacher
it gets
creature.
crazy out in those bleachers.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm hoping not to
Mhm.
go too far into baseball that Juan
Oh
Soto
yeah,
stays with the Yankees. He's playing in front of the bleacher creatures, the most passionate fans in baseball,
that's
the
it.
craziest fans in sports.
Hmm.
So I know that right now, as we speak, Steve Cohen is prying Juan Soto, our prized possession, away from the Bronx to bring him down to Queens. What do you think? You think it's going to happen? Do you think, and especially after seeing this World
Uh,
Series almost winning team, you got to see the energy this year. Is there a chance that Juan Soto really does just sell out, take the money, and head
I,
across
I
the river?
I think we'll see Juan Soto in pinstripes this year. They did a lot for his career. They backed him. New York backed him. There'll be excitement if he goes someplace else, but as soon as he strikes out, then they're gonna lose the love for him, and he's gonna wish that he never left. So I would like to see him in pinstripes. I think it'd be a good move for him. He's young, 23. You know, I want them to work with strengthening and conditioning in the off season on his arm. I need a little bit more strength out of his arm. But other than that, great defensive player. You know, you have different levels of players. You have like 5-star players, 4-star players, 3 stars. For the amount of money that they asking, do I consider him a 5-star player? Absolutely not. You know, and I'm not
Really?
hating, but yeah, you got to have to be a 5-star. You got to have speed. You got to have a strong arm. You got to hit the ball. You know, you have to have like smarts, not getting thrown out, and you got to be able to steal a base every now and then. His bat is bananas. His bat is so hot that he's automatically a 5-star player
Exactly.
to him because his bat. They always need the bat and stuff, but
A
I
lefty
think
like
it.
that at Yankee Stadium?
You know, in the off season, he gets his throwing arm going. They could even move him to center sometime if he gets a little stronger arm. He's still young. He's still growing. So
Yeah, I mean,
shout out
to
to
me,
Juan
I would
Soto.
not. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's going to be a DH within the next few years,
DH.
and that's. I know you say he's good in the outfield, but there were so many
Mm-hmm.
blunders. Buddy, I'm too big of a fan. I think I might have watched like realistically 150 to 158 games this year of
Okay.
Juan Soto, and you're right. His bat is that hot. His arm, he can throw a cannon. His arm can be a cannon. I remember
Uh-huh.
even might have been the fourth game of the MLB season where he threw out, I think it was Bregman when he was trying to go home against the Astros and save the game when the Yankees swept the Astros. And that to me was kind of I knew right then that we were going to the World Series. I wasn't sure if we were going to win it, but I knew that we
Mm-hmm.
were the best team in the American League. We swept the Astros. And it was largely in part due to Juan Soto, especially that slump that most of the team went on. He kind of carried the Yankees in April. So to me,
I,
Juan Soto's a 5-star player. Yes, you're absolutely right about the base running. His base running is not 5-star. In the outfield, not
mm,
5-star. But as a hitter, the amount of walks, his on base percentage, the fact that he can put the
mm-hmm.
ball anywhere he wants out in the field, singles, doubles, hit home runs. That was the most epic home run of the year was against Cleveland in the ALCS that brought the Yankees to the World Series. As great as Giancarlo was, it was that
Mm-hmm.
Soto bomb that put the Yankees into the World Series. So, man, I
Mm-hmm.
hope you're right so bad that he stays in pinstripes. Because, yes, we did a lot for him, and we got to show him what it's like to play for a real team and not some bums like the San Diego Padres. Saved him
Yeah.
from San Diego.
It's
But that being said,
what. Okay. I know we did a
you're
lot of baseball. Just one last question: do they move Jazz Chisholm to the outfield? That's the last question that I have.
I wouldn't move Jazz to the outfield. I'd move him to second base and I'd sign a third
Yeah.
baseman because he's not a natural third baseman. He has a cannon of an arm,
Yeah.
but it's like the routine plays, positioning himself
Right.
when there should be a throw to home plate. There were a few blunders this year that led to runs, especially in the postseason, where he's not a natural third baseman. For him to play third base that well,
Mm-hmm.
to me, was incredibly impressive. But I love Jazz Chisholm. I love his personality. He's got a swing that's tailor made for Yankee Stadium and that right
Mm-hmm.
field wall for those
Yep.
bleacher creatures. He's going to hit a lot of home runs next year. I love Jazz Chisholm, but I would put him at second base
Second base.
and I would find a third baseman. But if he goes to the
Yeah.
outfield, not the end of the world because he did play outfield for the Marlins
Mm-hmm.
before we got him. But that was an
That's
out
right.
of position Jazz Chisholm. He's just such an athlete and such a great defender that he was able to mask it because he's just great at baseball. But to answer
No,
your question, second base all day.
second base. Cool.
But that being said, we've got Buddy Wike of
I'm
intro
gonna
here
put. I'm gonna go
tonight.
get my.
Damn it!
Now you're gonna make me go put on my Yankees hat.
I love it. This is a
Yeah.
perfect time while he's going to get his
Huh?
Yankees hat that
Yeah.
we take a very quick break and we're going to play New York ish, as they say here on the radio, to get things started tonight before we get into the legendary career of Buddy White and what he's into now in the wide world of music and R&B. This is the Ryan Show FM with your host Ryan Vernell, and I'm chilling with my pal Buddy White, and we'll be back soon, folks. Don't go nowhere. The Ryan Show FM and all things Ryan Vernell are brought to you by the greatest cleaning company in the New York City and Long Island area, La Liaison. La Liaison Cleaning is a premier commercial and residential cleaning company proudly serving the diverse regions from New York City all the way out to the Hamptons. Not only does La Liaison deep clean using the best materials possible, organic materials if requested, but what sets them apart is their unique specialization in energy cleaning and removal. The folks at La Liaison focus on enhancing the feng shui of every space that they touch. Their dedicated team employs advanced techniques to clear stagnant energy and create a harmonious environment, ensuring that both your home or workplace are not only spotless but also revitalized and balanced. Whether you're looking for a thorough cleaning or a transformative energy refresh, La Liaison Cleaning delivers exceptional service tailored to your needs. Book them today online and see for yourself why you need La Liaison in your life. Look no further for a cleaning company. Go to La Liaison's website, laliaisonllc.com. That's LAIAISONLLC.com. And we are back. This is the Ryan Show FM, and I'm hanging here with R&B legend Buddy Wike, and you've heard him on this program before. That song you just heard was one of my favorites from 2018, New York, You Know What, and boy, is it good. And Buddy, I got to say, we've got a lot going on, man. You're all over the place. The music is popping as per norm. It's timeless. That's one thing a lot of hip hop artists have a hard time doing is retaining their fan base because people tend to kind of grow out of that energy of listening to some crazy, aggressive music, especially some of like the quote unquote gangster rappers, as they used to call them back in the 90s. Mr. Cheeks made a lot of party music. So that transition's been easier as we see Mr. Cheeks still getting booked all over the country for his classic songs because you can always vibe out and dance to that music. But it leads me to thinking there's been quite an evolution in R&B, and as one of the not originators, but you're one of the earliest guys that I used to listen to with intro. Um, what do you think about the direction of R&B and how it's gone and how it's evolved? A lot of people, like a lot of the old school rappers, hate the direction of how hip hop went. How do you think the direction of R&B has gone since your early days in the 90s?
Um, it's gone in a direction where it's still maintaining the flavor of R&B, but we're making so much of it that we're not really. It's so easy to make R&B music now. It's like people kind of like skipping a lot of the elements that people that listen to classic R&B ears were trained for. It's a lot now. It's just like grabbing a loop and singing on top of it, as opposed to going in and creating new music to create new musical experiences. Like I like to create musical experiences. I like to if I'm working on a record, like I like to create like a vibe and then put the lyrics on top of it. That way, once it drops, it's automatically original. It's not something that somebody heard before, and it's kind of easier to catch the person ear like that. You can't market every record that you do. I've got probably a couple hundred songs down here in my catalog that I haven't released yet, or try to go to music managers and stuff like that. But it's all about creating a vibe. It's all about capturing that moment and just having fun. Just having fun. Like what do I want to dance to when I go to the club? I don't like that. I actually have two turtles in my studio, and they work as my A&Rs.
That's a
It's
bit. Don't
it's
tell me that
it's
they're popping their heads.
dude. It's certain records that I'll put on, and the turtles won't move. And then there's certain records that I do put on, they'll move. If you think I'm lying, I'll show you right now. I swear. It's
Prove it.
so,
Let's see it. Let's
okay. Let
point
me.
that camera at
Okay.
those turtles. Let's meet
All
the
right. Let me see.
A&Rs
So,
live on air right here.
okay. Okay.
To
Watch.
those that are listening, Buddy is pointing his camera into the direction of
Okay.
his two A&Rs, and there they
Okay.
are,
You see it?
emerged in water.
Okay. And you see they
Donatello and
chilling.
Raphael.
Okay. Hold on a second. Now let me put on the record. Here we go.
And okay, here we go.
Let's give them a few minutes. Nobody's egging them on or anything. I think this
He's
is
not swirling his finger in the water.
Nah, I'm right here.
He's not tapping on the glass.
If they don't move to the records, then I'll still pay attention to it, but I just know not to go with it real hard. Everything. I gotta let them get into it. You see. All of the men she's loved, and I don't even ask questions. Hey, let me see. Let's go check. Oh, let the chorus come on first. It's coming on right here. And one, two, three. So I'm gonna treat her right. Okay, let's check. Let's see. Uh,
You know what? I like it. The Turtles might not be bopping at this song, but I think this song is
yeah.
fire, damn it.
Oh shoot! Thank you.
But that's what they're there for. I guess that's a good first litmus test. Are the two turtles? I dig it. So let's take it all the way back, buddy. You were
Okay.
signed to Atlantic Records back when it was the coolest thing in the whole world, back in 1992.
In
So what
19,
was it like? Was it? Did I get that right? I know you guys were formed in 1990,
1990, I met Kenny Greene in the
and
army in the late '80s, and we came up to New York. And like you said, in 1992, we signed to Untouchables Records, which is DJ Eddie F. And the
okay.
Untouchables, and he got us a deal at Atlantic Records. Yeah.
So back then it was you and your partners Jeff Sanders
Hmm.
and the late great Kenny Greene. So
Yeah.
first off, how did you guys come together?
Um, there was a friend named Ken Thomas who told me, he said, I know you play the piano. I know this guy that could sing real good. His name is Kenny. I want you to meet him. And that was it. Like that Friday, I met Kenny. And on Sunday, we went to the recreation center. They had a piano. And I just started playing. He just started singing. And that was pretty much the very beginning. Because we just kept writing songs, writing songs. And then opportunity presented itself. You know, we got a chance to come up to New York and work in the studio. Um, Linked up with Jeff, and yeah, that you know, I can't. I'm trying to. I know it's sounding like it's easy, like I'm saying it like it's easy, but it was a like like a good 2 3 years of really hustling behind the scenes. Like I'm telling my mother, Mom, I want to get out the army. I want to come home to record an R&B album. Uh, that means you want to come and sit around the house and go to the studio, then come back. I said, don't worry, I got you. And she allowed me to come back home from the army and live at home to follow my dream of putting out an R&B album, of recording an R&B album. I didn't know if it was gonna sell one copy. I didn't know any of those things were gonna happen, but I knew I had faith and I had like um like a God given skill because I never took music really except for like in junior high school and stuff like that. You know, played in a band. I just always wanted to figure it out myself. And
Wow. So the intro first album titled Intro was
mhm.
actually the origin started before you guys were even signed. You guys started creating the album.
Prior to us signing, we probably had about 30 songs recorded already.
Wow.
Because when we came to New York, um, Eddie F moved us to New Jersey to the mini mansion. That's like where they recorded all the hits. That was like Motown Records or the East Coast. Like any given day, you there, Heavy Deal come in. Like Mary J. Blige worked there. Donnell Jones worked there. Um, a lot of R&B artists during that time was using the mini mansion recording studio to record their songs, and then the equipment was tight. It all sounded good. I actually tried to like not recreate. but like the vibe that they had down there is like kind of like the vibe that I went for when I started designing my room, because it was just like it was for music, but it had like a little not weird vibe, but like a music vibe and stuff.
Wow. So
Hmm.
when you guys were in these, early stages, it says, and I don't know how true it is. It's hard to trust certain publications online, but it says that Heavy
Hmm.
D
Uh-huh.
discovered you guys. Is
Yeah,
that true that Heavy
yeah,
D literally discovered you guys?
we met Heavy D at a club called the Red Zone, and we sang for Heavy D, and Heavy D gave us a call, and he told us that Eddie F had a production company, and you know we should sing for him. So he arranged that for us.
And
Yes.
rest in peace to the great Heavy D,
Rest in peace to Heavy D. Yeah.
a guy who had great influence also on our own co-host, contributor, partner in crime, whatever you want to call him, Mr. Cheeks. But
Hmm.
uh,
Shout out
what
to
would
Mr.
you say
Cheeks
the
and the Lost Boys.
always? What do you
Hmm.
think the greatest lesson you ever learned from Heavy D was moving and starting into the actual music industry?
The greatest lesson. Um, I was I got a chance to meet Heavy D prior to me meeting Kenny Greene in Mount Vernon. One of my friends was in the Army Reg, took me to Eddie F studio, all the guys from Mount Vernon was just up there. They was just chilling. I was from Brooklyn, so I was used to like a lot more noise and stuff. Up in Mount Vernon, it was nice and cool and quiet, and dudes were just able to hang outside by their cars and talk about music and work in Eddie's studio. And I was like, that's the kind of life that I want to have in the future as far as being a musician. And then fast forward it, Albie Shore, who's from Mount Vernon, um, our guy Nelson, his brother was playing the drums for Albie Shore, so we got a chance to take a look at what a tour bus looks like and stuff like that. And real quick, I remember saying I would like to ride on a tour bus one day. And then you put that out there, then it went from I would like to ride on a tour bus one day to saying I'm tired of tour buses. I don't want to do another tour bus in my life. But shout out to Heavy D, man. He hooked us up. He hooked us up. He put us in the right direction because a lot of times, so many people give you numbers and stuff like that, and there's just not enough opportunities. There's more phones than opportunity, and you kind of got to try to pick through it. And yeah.
Pretty legendary.
Hmm.
So you once again, you got introduced to DJ Eddie F,
Hmm.
and he signed you guys to Untouchables, like you said, and then later with Atlantic Records. Like, just out of curiosity, how did that work back then? Like, a lot of these guys get screwed over. A lot of our favorite artists, musicians, R&B singers got screwed over by these big giant labels. They were young, inexperienced, didn't know much about the industry. What
Right.
was the whole process like? Did you think that it was a fair process in itself? And did you guys stand a chance dealing with a behemoth of a company like Atlantic Records back when you first signed in 1992?
We honestly we had no idea about any of this stuff. Like we just knew how to make songs. We didn't know about the record companies, and they schooled us as much as they could, but it was just pretty much a crash course. But as far as Atlantic Records, dude, man, honestly I feel you know like that was a really good move for us because they were a corporation, and it wasn't like a somebody just deciding to start a record company and sell as many records as they can within a certain amount of time. Like let me see something real quick. Like I have no, you know, yeah, I don't want to. I'm not gonna do all of that. I was getting ready to go grab some paperwork, but yeah, shout out to Atlantic Records. Shout out to Warner Music Group in general. Warner Music Group in general. I can honestly say that they I saw what they did. They artist fear because I can only account for myself. They set us up with retirement,
Wow.
health benefits. Yeah, they paid into our pensions and all of that stuff. And I don't know how many record companies do that. So when I do hear people talking bad about their record companies, I if we are like on the road and they talking about it in the green room and stuff like that, I just stay to myself because I don't really want to let them know like how decent it was at Atlantic because I don't want them to feel like their opportunity was less than what it could have been for them. 'Cause at the end of the day, it's all about the music. Yeah, you want to make money from doing music and stuff, but it's it's a real funny business.
Yo,
So,
that's a great success story, a great positive story about a
mhm,
major corporation because I have so many people on here that tell me the absolute opposite. Like you said, maybe you're in the green room hearing some things, and to
mhm,
think they set you guys up with a pension even back then,
mhm, mhm.
that's amazing.
And ASCAP, AFTRA, um, publishing, all that stuff. Like, there's like we want you guys to be okay when you get older. That's how I took it. I mean, it's 30 years later. We just they just assisted us on doing the double. We just did a double in
All right.
December. Another release with them. They still will release our music. If we get on the phone and send some emails out, you know,
Everybody
we
needs to go pick up the vinyl of the classic intro album. It's in Buddy Wike's hands right now. Are you selling signed copies or anything like that?
I
Wow, look at that.
sure am. Yep. They can inbox you and we'll autograph it. It's that hard vinyl like
That
what your
real
parents
deal vinyl.
what your parents used to have. It's 180. On this album right here, we spared no expenses. We got it pressed at the old Sony plant. It was the plant that Sony owned in the Netherlands, and now Music on Vinyl owns it. And the CEO, Miguel, he just helped me through the process. People at Warner Music, they helped me get the licensing and stuff to get it done. And so I'm glad you asked that question because I that way I could give a few people some props.
Yeah, look,
They
yeah,
always get
that's great.
they always getting crapped on, but there are some good things that they do. A lot of times it's how you approach the label too. You can't approach them like a superstar or a celebrity. You have to approach them as a musician. You get a lot more stuff done. At the end of the day, they just want to make money.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, were you guys always intro? And who was it that came up with the name, the acronym? I don't know how true it is, but I've heard
I
that
gotta
it
take
means
this out. I'm listening.
the acronym was it not innovative new talent reaching out? Is that the true meaning of intro?
That is the true meaning of intro. Innovative new talent reaching out. Yep.
And who was it that came up with that?
Kenny Greene came up with that acronym. INTRO. Innovative new talent reaching out. I thought intro was a group before because
Oh,
I
yeah. See,
yeah I had a Motown's greatest hits album, and on the back on the credits it said intro Temptations, intro Diana Ross,
it's
intro
just the intro to the
Stevie
song.
Wonder, but I didn't know that, so I was like, damn, who's intro? How did intro get a chance to work with all of these artists? And then, you know, over time I found out that no, that meant that was the intro to the song. So I kind of became like I took that name for my group. I
That's
was able
great.
to become my favorite group because I thought it was intro who had worked with all those people. Fast forward, one of those songs came true when we did the Ribbon in the Sky with Stevie Wonder. It said it was like intro and Stevie Wonder. That's
That is awesome.
crazy.
That is awesome that you guys were
Yeah.
receiving. So hold that thought
Yeah.
before we get into the Stevie Wonder song, "Ribbon in the Sky." That's the
Hmm.
cover that I'm familiar with that you guys did. Um, the trio of
Hmm.
yourself, Jeff Sanders, and Kenny Greene. What was the creative process like for intro when coming up with the song? Who did what? Was it all three of you guys? What was the inner workings behind it when creating this great music?
That's a great question. It depends on what setting we were in. Like if we're here in the studio, then I'd probably play the piano. Kenny would give us some drums. Kenny will tell you that I taught him how to play the piano, and he taught me how to sing. I've heard him tell people that, which is kind of true. He ended up a better piano player than I did a singer. It's a long story.
Wow.
But anyway, so we vibe. A lot of stuff was just done a cappella in a cappella though, because at that time I only had a keyboard. I didn't have like the drum machines and all the other stuff to add strings and stuff to it. So yeah, we just it could pop up from any like we would just be standing around talking and maybe somebody came up with a hook earlier in the daytime and they just want us to hear it. It could be any of the three. But when we went into the studios with the Untouchables, it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like we was doing songs in like 2 hours, 3 hours, and they just kept working us 2 hours, 3 hours, more songs. And
That's great.
we was blessed to have probably the best songwriter of that era in the group. So he just made it like, you know, as fun but easy as well. Made it kind of easy.
And Kenny was working with other artists. Now he kind of ghost wrote for a whole lot of famous artists later on. Is that correct?
He ghost wrote for a lot of the sound in the '90s, but he also got some really good credits. He won ASCAP Songwriter of the Year
Wow.
along with Dave Jam Hall for the songs that he had did with Mary J. Blige. He did Reminisce, My Love, Love No Limit, You Don't Have to Worry. He worked on Will Smith album, um, The Winans, Soul for Real. Yeah, his writing was impeccable. It was like one of the greatest writers of our era, hands down. And I
Yeah,
got
I
a
don't
chance to
think.
work with him. It was so much fun. I miss that brother. Such
I
a
mean,
good
to make
dude.
history,
Rest in
like
peace,
so.
Kenny.
What was the relationship like between the three of you guys during that era? Because you hear of all this turmoil behind the scenes with different artists, especially when they were kind of put together and didn't grow up together. When it's
Mhm.
three musicians that are sometimes put together, what was the dichotomy like between the three of you?
We never had a fight. We never had a fight. Any one of the three of us, we always was able to work things out like family, like no matter what. Because I mean, it was times when we were so busy, we weren't really getting a chance to see our families and stuff like that. So we was like all we had, and yeah, we all had a mutual respect for each other, and that's what I call it now. But back then, it was just normal. We just let's do music, let's have fun, let's travel, let's see the world. I remember we were over in St. Petersburg, Russia, with like 350,000 people. And we're like, put your hands in the air, and nobody knows what we're saying. The Let Me Be the One comes on, and everybody's singing all the words. And I'm just looking at Kenny, and I'm looking at Jeff. I'm like, do y'all believe this stuff? Like, do y'all really believe what's going on right now? And yeah, that was a really good that was pretty cool. Just as music is pretty cool, but yeah, I miss my brother every day.
And he made a lasting impact on the world of music
Mhm.
and clearly on yourself. And
Yeah.
on that note, let's let that all sink in, folks. We've got the great Buddy Wike here with us tonight, and we're talking all things intro and beyond, even making a
Hmm.
last cry attempt to keep Juan Soto in pinstripes here
Oh,
tonight at the Ryan
Juan
Show FM.
Soto.
And as he sits there eating his amazing pecan burger made by the great Sandra Lee. How do I say her name? Because she's so amazing. I don't want to butcher her name.
Yeah, Chandra Lee
Chandra Lee.
embrace raw living.
So good. One of the
Embrace
OG
raw living.
guests, actually, of the Ryan Show. She came on to talk veganism in an era where I was so far from being vegan and still am. But that seems to be the meal of the night here on the
Mhm.
Ryan Show FM. We're going to be back soon to wrap things up and get into a little bit more stuff and what Buddy's got going on right now because my man is busy. We're going to get into it. Don't go nowhere, folks. We shall return. The Ryan Show FM and all things Ryan Vernell are brought to you by the greatest cleaning company in the New York City and Long Island area, La Liaison. La Liaison Cleaning is a premier commercial and residential cleaning company proudly serving the diverse regions from New York City all the way out to the Hamptons. Not only does La Liaison deep clean using the best materials possible, organic materials if requested, but what sets them apart is their unique specialization in energy cleaning and removal. The folks at La Liaison focus on enhancing the feng shui of every space that they touch. Their dedicated team employs advanced techniques to clear stagnant energy and create a harmonious environment, ensuring that both your home or workplace are not only spotless, but also revitalized and balanced. Whether you're looking for a thorough cleaning or a transformative energy refresh, La Liaison Cleaning delivers exceptional service tailored to your needs. Book them today online and see for yourself why you need La Liaison in your life. Look no further for a cleaning company. Go to La Liaison's website, laliaisonllc.com. That's LALIAISON LLC.com. And that song, actually not the song that
Mhm.
Buddy's playing right now, not the song that Buddy and I just heard coming back from break. If you're sitting in this StreamYard, you heard a song created by Kula Rule the Divine. And one of my favorite new Buddy Wike songs is a Lost Boys Kula Ruler produced duo. I guess you'd call it a duet
Mhm.
with
Shout
Mr.
out to
Cheeks and
them,
yourself.
man. There's so many good records. Like over the past, I say 3 years. If those things end up on a single album, I think it'll really be a dope treat. Yep.
So good. So, who's your favorite rapper to work with? Because, like I said earlier in the night, New York
Hmm.
Ish is one of my favorite R&B rapper duo modern songs that's come out. Of all the greats that you've worked with, who's been your favorite rapper to collaborate with?
It's going to definitely be Mr. Cheeks from the Lost Boys, just from the Queens vibe, the Brooklyn vibe. You know, my grandmother and my mother lived in Southside Jamaica, Queens. So as an R&B artist, you know, being in a mix of all of that, I felt safe living in Queens, and just the music just carried us. I remember meeting bro on a flight to Toronto. It was like when we get back to New York, we're gonna do some music, and then we end up touring in Toronto like shortly after that. Um, J. Rue the Damager is my brother. I can't wait to work with him. I'll just listen to some of his new stuff. So it would definitely be Mr. Cheeks and J. Rue the Damager. Those are my two. If somebody could say, here's what two rappers do you want to work with on your new album, then those would be the two. But I like a lot of rappers. But as far as wanting to be in the studio, like
Yeah, there's something about being in the studio with Mr. Cheeks. Some of my favorite music experiences were in studio
hmm
with Mr. Cheeks.
hmm
Honestly, I'll say this, and it's not because, and I am so incredibly biased. I love that man, but he's
hmm
also one of the most underrated MCs, and not just as a rapper. There's always guys that have to make all these similes and punchlines and everything else. Mr.
I,
Cheeks just knows how to make a good song and knows how to make the right words rhyme together. His voice, his cadence,
yep.
so underrated. So it's about time we give him his damn roses for being more than just the host of the show with me. And buddy, I always wonder too about your song. You had a Ribbon in the Sky, right? Your cover of Ribbon in the Sky with
You could have.
Stevie. Who are your top five singers of all time? I don't want to say influence, but who do you rank top five? We could talk Frank Sinatra, Marvin
hmm
Gaye. Who is the top five, your favorite to come before you or after you?
Michael McDonald, James Ingram, um, Al Jarreau, Luther Vandross, Michael Jackson.
Ooh, that's a good top five. I love that you put Michael McDonald on the top. My man is so underrated. I love Michael McDonald.
Yamo be there, a
So good.
little bit, Yamo. And him and James Ingram had that same draw, so they was like one and the same. And yeah, I think those are like amongst my first albums that I would listen to. Then I just went left, got the Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet, and I'm living on a prayer, take my hand. And then from there, back to the barge, and my music is all over the place. I was just like,
Do you listen to a lot of classic rock from back in the day? And I know you mentioned Bon Jovi's a little past the classic rock era, but
classic rock, like Long Island, like New York artists, but not really classic rock. When I used to visit my aunt in Maryland, she would always have like that like classic rock on. But coming from New York, growing up in the late disco, early hip hop era, I kind of got stuck on hip hop.
I love hip hop, love disco, love R&B. But my first love that really got me into
Hmm.
music was classic rock. And my first favorite
Classic.
group that
Hmm.
I listened to was the
Yeah.
Beatles. And I kind of
Okay.
rediscovered them this year.
Hmm.
Um, One of my very dear friends, she never really got into the Beatles. So I'm kind of, oh yeah, look at that. Imagine the John Lennon. That is a fire poster that you've got hanging up in studio there. The great John Lennon. So
Shout out to the Beatles.
where do you rank them as songwriters? 'Cause, you're a songwriter. Like you said, you've got all these songs you never even put out,
Hmm.
and it just amazes me that every one of their songs was so good and so different, and they had so many different genres within their own sound. I mean, where do you rank
Hmm.
John Lennon and Paul McCartney and George Harrison? You can't forget him either.
Right. as originators, like they brought a whole new style to the United States where you know it's classic, but it also had like deep lyrics, like deep meaning lyrics, like lyrics that's all it had like metaphors, but all of their song had meanings, something like where people could relate to it. Imagine, um, yeah, I can't say I was the biggest Beatle fan, but older in life, I appreciate when I hear their music because you hear a lot of you can hear the elements that's going on in the music itself.
And to think that these guys wrote those songs so young. Why do you think that is? That so many great songs, in fact, some of the greatest songs in every genre, whether it be classic rock or R&B or hip hop or disco, why
Uh-huh.
is it written by guys in their 20s? And then it's hard for them to recapture a hit.
I think that's because they're coming into their manhood, and it's a lot of things that they always thought about. Now they get a chance to actually experience, and then some of them have the chance to capture it on song if they have studios and stuff. It's funny you asked that a few minutes ago. You asked me what was the difference between like my thoughts on the R&B music now, and how I compare it to R&B music from say late '80s through the '90s up until now is that it's like microwavable because everybody got you could record as many songs as you want on a laptop. But when we were recording, we used to have to buy these tapes, and the tapes cost like over $200-300. So we had to get it right. We knew we had to get it right. Let's give it everything we got because this might be our last shot. We might run out of tape today, and that just made sure we put the best quality of music on those music strings, keyboards, drums, live guitars, spend as much time on the vocal production as we did the music. We had the best producers. We had the Untouchables, um, and they have been working with everybody. Mary J. Blige. They did "Dream Lover" for Mariah Carey. They had did the "In Living Color" theme song.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
so they were red hot at the time, and we just had the opportunity for them to be the producers on our album.
So during that first album, how many people were in studio creating it with you?
Um, on any given session, it would be the producer, Kenny, Jeff, and myself.
Which is
Hmm.
a far cry from today's music industry. I feel like there's a lot more people in studio and there's a lot less, or I should say, a lot more creative control over what the artists themselves put out. That they're
Yeah.
almost limited by what's going to work commercially. I heard so many times, oh, I can't make a record that's over 2 minutes or over 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So maybe that has something to do with the change in quality. Like you said, microwave songs, not just literally are you limited by resources like money and how many tapes you have, where now you can just do as many takes as you please, but
Hmm.
just the amount of creative control in today's music, I feel really does hinder it. There's not as many classic hits, and I hate to sound like so biased or oh, I sound so old or whatever, but I feel like the music of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s is just more sustainable. Like you can hear it over and over again, every genre. That's why, I was born in
Hmm.
1989 and people used to make fun of me. They thought I was like a hippie. And then I'd go back and listen to
For
early
sure.
90s rap
Hmm.
back in the, 2000s. So, the music just was more timeless. Maybe that's biased, but it just seems like the quality status was
The
a little bit
writing,
different back then.
the writing and stuff.
I think that could be it. And buddy, there is
Yeah.
some new music that's coming out now, so I want to be sure to plug it away. What do we have going on in the world of Buddy Wike now
Um.
as we close things out in the music world? I see you're in studio, you've got all the equipment around you.
Yeah. Let me see. Take me. How I made it through is gonna be. Is gonna catch the noise. I'll send the record over to you, Ryan. Man, I appreciate you. Like playing the songs on your platform. But this one right here, it's called. See which one am I pulling up right now? Oh, this is how I made it through. And I'm not gonna play it now because I guess you'll play it
We're gonna
probably
play it.
one of them. Yeah,
We're gonna
this
play it to close
this
the
joint
show out
called
tonight.
Cool, Cool, Cool.
So everybody go follow Buddy Wike on Instagram. Unfortunately, we are running out of time because we actually want to play
Mhm.
your music tonight
Okay.
and not just play little commercials in between the songs, but your actual music tonight. So that being said,
Wow.
everybody go
Appreciate it.
immediately to Buddy Wike Music on Instagram. Give him a follow. Let him know that you heard tonight's broadcast, and he'll send you some music and maybe even a signed vinyl if the price is right. Message Buddy and see what's good. I want to thank you, Buddy. You're a damn legend. We've had some
Yeah,
good
you know,
times in real
legend.
life and now here online, and hopefully you come back to this program soon. And is there anywhere else that we should direct the people to before we play some of your music to close out tonight's program?
The Ryan Show.
There we
Yeah.
go. TheRyanShow.net.
Buddy
Buddy
Wike
White.
Music.
Buddy White
Appreciate you.
Music. Ryan Vernell. Together again. And we'll be back very soon. Right here on the Ryan
Only
Show FM.
750 copies.
Be one of the 750 lucky individuals to order a copy now online. BuddyWhiteMusic.com. We'll be back soon.